Capricorn.
Hello Capricorn, this is your forecast for 2017, and this month your main focus will be on your financial situation. The money that you earn, your monthly income, but also how you can improve it here this month. Mercury will be joining the Sun in this area for you, and Mercury is going to play a major role this month, so stay tuned. You will hear all the news that Mercury is going to be bringing here February. And to top that off with, we got a solar and a lunar eclipse this month, and I'm going to be making a dedicated video that you can find up here at the very end of the movie that can give you a little bit more detailed and orientation on what that's going to do for you. Because we know the lunar eclipses, they shut doors, right? And the solar eclipses open up for new beginnings. So there's a lot of shifts, lots of energy this month, and we can see that you're going to have a lot of fun with it as well. Mars is currently in your 4th house. This has to do with your home and family, the foundation, the physical home that you abide in. And Mars is extra fiery because it's transiting through the sign of Aries. Now, this gives you a drive, a passion, a goal to get certain things done. That can have to do with projects, either clearing out the garage, the basement, the loft. Some of you might even be on march to go out and find a new property. And if you do, and if that is your timing for it, Capricorn, this month will give you a lot of extra oomph and a lot of support, as Mercury will be negotiating and talking and contracts perhaps here this month as well. And you might just find here towards the end some utter surprise within the family on the 27th when Mars meets up with Uranus. But to join this crowd, Venus, which is now currently in your 3rd house for communication, short distance travel, it's been cruising here in the month of January. So you might have had extended time here with siblings, your neighbors, and your closer community. That's what the 3rd house is all about. Catching up and having fun in your communication, phone calls, emails, text, social media. Venus loves to express itself when it's in that 3rd house, but it will move into your 4th house of home and family here after the 3rd. So you will see how when Venus really joins up with Mars, that you're going to put love, not just the passion of Mars, but the love of your heart too, will resonate with wanting to beautify your home. Some of you might find yourself changing colors on the walls or getting new furniture, or like I said, even maybe out shopping for a totally new home. Whatever the deal is, it's going to be a great month to put those personal touches, because we get so busy throughout the year where maybe our focus is spread out everywhere else that we don't really have time to look at the foundation of our life. But this you will do here in February. Jupiter is going to retrograde from February 6th to the 10th for you. Jupiter has been in the 10th house. Jupiter has been trying to expand this area for you, Capricorn. Some of you have already started new jobs or been out there searching, looking for new jobs and opportunities. There could be advancement, you could be promoted, whatever the deal is. But now when Jupiter goes retrograde, it might slow down a little bit. It's not a difficult planet to have retrograde because Jupiter is generally generous, regardless whether she's direct or retrograde. But what you can come to notice and experience through this is maybe opportunities from the past. Say you're out looking for a new job and you've spent a lot of time sending out all those applications, nothing came at the time. But you were using your Jupiterian energy of really sending all of them out, right? You might just come to see how it might just start trickling in, offers from the past. And so that's one really good upside of this retrograde. It will give you extended time as well. We're talking quite a few months, right? That gives you extended time for Jupiter to give you the gift of expansion in your career. So good for you. Saturn has been and still will be for 2017, at least to mid-December, cruising your 12th house. This is you asking yourself, kind of like reflecting too, perhaps, where you've been the last 28, 29 years, looking back in perspective, what you have accomplished, the road, right? But it's also you pretty much also looking towards the future. Now what? Where do I go from here? Some of you might feel a little lost in this because that 12th house is Neptunian, it's Pisces. You might feel that things might flow a little bit, right? And if you have that sense that you're dangling in the middle of that matrix, don't you worry, because that new foundation, what you're doing this year, you're laying it down so that 2018, when Saturn crosses your ascendants there mid-December, you will start seeing the new path and journey will be opening up for you, and you will have a new 29-year cycle that you're going to embark upon. So right now, it is time to introvert a little bit. It's a karmic time where we're pulling the essence out of all of our experiences from these last 3 decades for you, right? And again, I feel too that spiritually, you might feel that you have more of a need to connect with your higher self or the higher dimensions, whatever you wish, because why? It fills your soul. You're having this longing for being filled for internally. Then you know it's Saturn at work. These 2 eclipses, like I said, end of the tape, you will see that there, more information on it. But let's start top of the month, what is taking place for you, because I see communication might be pivotal and important, and yet not really going anywhere on the 1st and the 2nd. And that is Mercury squaring off on Jupiter and Uranus. So you might feel a little let down that somebody isn't really getting it or hearing you. But you know what? This talk is really important because it's getting the information out. Then just watch what Mercury is going to do for you the rest of this month, which is going to be super important. There's tons of aspects now that Mercury is going to line up for you perfectly. Okay, so after the 3rd, when Venus moves out of that area of siblings and your neighbors and communication into the 4th house of family, you will see on the 7th, Mercury now shifting signs and out of your sign of Capricorn, where it has been, into the 2nd house for money and income, joining the party of the Sun. You will start seeing that financial talks or focus may come that much more into play. It's more you brainstorming, getting all your ducks in a row, crunching numbers. The best time of the year to look over your finances. So you have that working. But then on the 9th, straight through there to the 18th, we get a week, which is fantastic. Unexpected news may come to you on the 9th. This is going to affect you directly and personally, and I feel also in the area of your finances. Uranus is always that wild card, right? But it is coming from the area of family, so it could be unexpected news from a family member that somehow can add to a benefit for your income. On the 10th, Mercury again, which is news, now with Venus, and Venus is in your 4th house, again that's family. Venus rules love, so there's communication here, there's love, but there's also security because Venus also rules money. And we know that the Sun and Uranus just did a money factor thing there from families, and this is following up on the 10th. On the 11th, even a greater surprise. So we got 3 days back to back. Now the Sun and Jupiter in a trine, which only happens twice a year, and it's one of the most prominent days of the entire year, with the exception of when they conjunct the Sun and Jupiter. But this trine, Jupiter being in your 10th house for career, We know now that you've been having news of money and family members, but now Jupiter is kicking in and giving this trine to your financial house. And even though Jupiter is now at this point retrograde, like I said, it doesn't matter. It could be an offer from the past that suddenly might come knock on your door and add to the joy of what you've just experienced days prior. And I feel that since the Sun and Saturn are also beautifully connected on the 14th, I think it's something that you've been meditating upon, praying for, looking for security, finding that inner sense of foundation where you know where you can be navigating, not just now, but also in the future financially. That's coming together for you on the 14th. On the 16th, Mercury is still really active now with Mars. And Mars in the 4th house for home and foundation. Mercury's communicating here how to improve and secure this area for you. Men at this time could be very important. I can see that they are supportive of what it is you're doing, trying to get up and running. And I feel that your own physical drive and energy is really on the projects at home. All right, clearing out that closet or the garage or the loft, whatever it may be. But you've had a super busy week, and on the 18th, the Sun will now move out of Aquarius, which is your 2nd house, where it's been working, crunching those numbers, now into the 3rd house. Expect things for the rest of the month now to be focused on what you communicate, how you communicate. There might be some travel coming up. That could even come by invitation. On the 21st, we have more unexpected news. This is Mercury now, from your 2nd house to Uranus in your 4th house. Some more family talks, agreements, negotiations, figuring things out, but having the unexpected take place, because we just had the Sun, right, trending off on Jupiter, but now Mercury is coming in to that very same degree and also opening up this unexpected gift on the 21st. So circle this on your calendar, because I think it's not necessarily something that you have been working towards. I feel that this is something that could just come to you. But what you have been working towards as far as work and career, that might fall into place on the very same day. Good news from family, great news from work. So talk about double whammy, right? 22nd though, be careful not to be too hasty in your movements. Mars and Pluto, they're square. We don't want to see any accidents. We don't want to speed on the highway because Pluto represents police. And so we don't want to end up with any tickets, right? That's the only really red flag of the month. 23rd, we have more news, Mercury, and now with Saturn. So I feel this is you expressing yourself with what is essentially very important for you as far as your confidence, your knack and know-how. Financially too, I feel that since Mercury now is in your 2nd house, has to do with finances and where you want to maybe set aside some money for future security. You will know what that is, but I see there could be some talk here, and it could be with a financial advisor, for example, which isn't, the worst thing you can do. Absolutely not. On the 25th, Mercury moves into Pisces, and that is your communication area. The Sun is already there, so, more movement. I always like to see the 3rd house as a lot of not just intellectual movement, but it could be you wanting to get out and about, take a weekend away. Short trips are very empowering at this point. And the 26th, we got that solar eclipse, right? And it's also the new moon, and that is flaring up in your 3rd house, also in this area. So if you're thinking about wanting to travel more in the year to come, then this is what your intentions should be focused on. You will come to see not only is it a new moon, but since it is a solar eclipse, it has the power of these 3 new moons. We end the month Capricorn, with some excitement, all right? And this is Mars and Uranus. Talk about feeling electric. Uranus is always electric, and when we put Mars to it, we got sparks, okay? So whatever you're initiating now, Mars is taking that energy of Uranus and it's being infused, and it's going to carry the signature of Uranus for the next 2 years. It's going to travel through your chart, thinking differently, outside of the box, right? In more and more untraditional ways as opposed to the last cycle. So this is how we have evolution. You're going to take different actions, you're going to think differently and act upon it. Consequences, of course, will be different from it. But then again, watch out for the impulse to be maybe acting too independently on a certain matter, because this will bring you to want to take a leap before thinking. Your partner might feel like, well, why didn't you ask me what I thought, right? You might just take a very independent action, because this Mars, not only is it conjunct Uranus, but it's opposing Jupiter, right? So there's a balance right there. But this whole opposition, it is between the 4th house of home and family, and it has to do with work and career, expansion, new beginnings, and a drive. So you might just feel super jazzed as we end the month of February. So March, you can only imagine how that's going to start off for you, but do go listen to the solar eclipses and the lunar eclipse, and we will see you next month. Bye now.